We know why Republican politicians really push for voter ID laws, and here at TYT we've made multiple videos explaining how it's designed to stop as many people as possible from voting, especially the groups that typically vote for Democrats. Hell, we've probably even done a final judgment about it at some point over the past year. But even so, it's nice every once in a while to have a Republican politician actually make the case for why they're really pushing for these laws. And we have one today. It's Senator Jim DeMint, hiding absolutely nothing. He said, speaking about voter ID laws, it's something we're working on all over the country. Because in the states where they do have voter ID laws, you've seen, actually, elections begin to change more towards conservative candidates. It must feel good to give no fucks anymore, to know that you don't even need to hide behind this idea of voter fraud that was never found. You can just come right out and say, it's to make sure that conservatives win because we stop liberals from voting, or Democrats at all. But despite that, the point of this final judgment is not to say, aha, we caught him, because we've seen this before. It's becoming more and more common that Republican politicians, especially on the state level, but sometimes in Congress, in the Senate as well, are just being open about it. They don't care. They don't need to hide it. The jig is up, but nothing is actually happening. And that's what the final judgment is about. It's about the people who are supposed to be using this information. The honesty, the freedom with which Republican politicians make clear that the voter fraud idea is a lie, and it's really about disenfranchising people. And this election is the time when people apparently, for once, finally care about their voting rights being taken away. And so hopefully they'll use quotes like Jim DeMint's. And there are three groups of people who should be using this. First of all, you have the media, who should be throwing quotes like this back in the face of Republican politicians who claim that it's about voter fraud, and thus educating the population about their true motives. You have the opposition, Democrats, especially at the state level, who should be making advertisements based around this sort of thing. Quote Jim DeMint, quote the other Republicans, and make people understand what their actual goals are on the right. And then, of course, there's finally the voters, who are supposed to have learned by now that Republicans have no interest whatsoever in them having any control over their lives or over the future of their country, especially if there's any chance that they might vote for a Democrat. The media, the opposition, and the people should have seen by now what's actually going on. And because of arrogant politicians like Jim DeMint who don't feel like they need to hide their true motivations anymore, the truth is totally out in the open. And now is the time to act on it. And that's my final judgment.